All right. Hey, class, this is Professor Cooper. We are going to talk about matrices now. I just finished the video on factors. Matrices really are just an arrangement of usually numbers in rows and columns in a rectangular array so that you can do things with them, organize them, perform mathematical operations to them. They have their own set of rules. In R, a matrix is its own type of object. If you recall that matrices have dimensions, so they have rows and columns. So it is said that a matrix has a particular order. So if a matrix, and it's always row by column, so if a matrix is 100 rows from 100 different observations from a survey and 5 columns for 5 different questions that have been asked, then it would have an order of 100 by 5, 100 rows by 5 columns. So I'm going to show you how to make a matrix. I'm going to show you what it looks like in R, and then we're going to do some other stuff, including some recodes. So recoding is going to be a key issue here. All right, so I'm going to create this matrix here called matrix 1, and then I'm going to immediately do semicolon matrix 1 to show it to you, to print it so you can see it. Now this matrix function creates a matrix, and I just used 1:25, and that means the entire sequence of integers, from 1 to 25 in order. And then the arguments that a matrix function takes includes n row or n col, which means number of rows or number of columns. So n row in this case is 5. And then I show you, and you see how it populates a matrix. It's filling the columns from 1 to 25 with 5 rows. Now this next line does the exact same thing. The only difference is the argument is n col rather than n row. Now you can do some things later on with manipulation with that, but I'm just showing you that these two things produce exactly the same thing. All right. Now, because a matrix has rows and columns, because it has dimensions, the way that you manipulate individual pieces of a matrix in R is by using hard brackets. And you always have a comma inside those hard brackets. So you see right here I have matrix 1, and then I open and close hard brackets, and I have a comma right here. Now right here, this means the second row and the third column. All right. So right now, all I'm saying is print for me matrix 1, but not all of it, just this part of it, from the second row and the third column. And you see, if you go to the second row and the third column, it was the number 12. So writing out matrix hard bracket 2, 3 hard bracket just pulls that one element out. It literally pulls it out of the matrix, right? Let's say for some reason I knew that that particular observation was coded incorrectly, then I might want to recode it. Let's say for some dumb reason my recode value is 999, right? We can take the assignment operator that you've already been introduced to and assign only to a part of an object, not just the whole object, right? So instead of saying I'm going to create this thing called matrix and it takes all these values, I'm going to say I'm going to take the part of an object that already exists that is from the second row and third column of matrix 1, and then with the assignment operator, I'm going to say it gets a hard value of 999, 999. All right. Just to show you that it in fact did what I expected it to do, I will print it. And you can see that we just recoded a value. So you can officially go in and find if somebody coded some variables wrong and it's small enough that it's not like a 10,000 observation data set or something like that, then you can actually go in and do this one at a time. You can, of course, transform or recode values more than one at a time, though. In this line, I say, from matrix 1, I want, you notice how there's nothing here in matrices in this particular version. This is where row would go, but I'm not signaling which row that I want them from. That means that I want from all of the rows. Okay? But I say I want the fourth column. And then in the fourth column, I'm going to replace all the row values in the fourth column with NA. Okay? If I then type matrix 1, you'll now see that I've replaced the entire fourth column with NAs, and I still have that 999 from before. So these are really good and important ways that are going to become useful to recode things, not only in matrices, but also when we start talking about data frames next. Data frames and matrices are very similar. Matrices don't have the same subset operators that data frames have. They're different classes in R. And but data frames will accept matrix notation, like with these hard brackets for subsetting, but it also has some other subsetting operators that are useful just for it. And we're going to talk about that next.